Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mario Tennis Aces. I should mention that in this part, we're just breaking into this ghost house and stealing their stuff. Like, this is their Power Stone, and we're just taking it. Are we the bad guys?
Well,
Are we the baddies?
we are doing it to save the world from the evil power of a dark tennis racket, but
I mean, to
actually,
be fair,
when I put it that way, it just sounds like we're insane.
Yes.
it'd be like, okay, it's like I'm breaking into. Give me your jewelry. What? If you don't, the world will end. Tennis. So this is actually like sometimes I this single player mode I do think is fun, although kind of shallow, but I do think it's fun. Like this little mini game right here, I think is pretty cool because it actually does challenge you to aim your shots in an interesting way, and that I think is pretty cool. Like I think you generally have to just there's some sort of trick to it later in the game. I think I don't remember which one it is. What it is, I think it's you just have to hit them all into the same. Sometimes you have to hit it into the same circle twice or something like that. I don't remember. It's been forever since I played this. I'm sorry. But yeah, I like this little mini game, and I wish that there was more stuff like this, or the one where you have to aim the piranha plant, aim at the piranha plant. They do some stuff like that in order to spice things up, like especially towards the end of the game. But there are a lot of points where it feels like you're just doing standard tennis type stuff, and it's a little bit boring, you know.
Though the one problem I'll say I have with this kind of minigame though is that the game has a bit of an over reliance on the super shot manual aiming thing.
Yeah, well, that's because it's the game's biggest gimmick, you know? It's like the one thing about it that makes it different than the other Mario sports games. And, I mean, granted, it is a cool mechanic on its own, but there's not really... I guess you're right in that they don't really have you do much with it other than aim at some specific part of the map, you know, or do it quickly.
Yeah, and when it comes to actually playing tennis with it, what I find is that it's essentially either a free point or it forces the other player to use their their super move or slow down time so that they can block it.
Yeah, you have to have pretty godlike reflexes in order to block a zone shot without using your own zone shot, you know. So what I've found is that whenever I play this online, one of the things about using the zone shot is that you will automatically return the shot no matter where it is. If you're using the special shot, the zone shot you can only do under a star platform. The special shot you can do wherever, and the special shot requires your meter to be full like it is right now. But what I found when I play online is that usually it comes to the point where somebody cannot return a shot unless if it's a special shot. So then they use their special shot, and then I respond with my special shot because they have no more meter left, and then I get the point, or vice versa. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it ends up feeling a little bit repetitive because of that, I guess. Maybe things have changed. Again, they've done balance updates to this game a lot over the past couple of months. It came out in like what, September? It came out in like May of last year, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
it's just, you know, when your meter is full, you basically have a get out of jail free card unless your opponent counters it with their own get out of jail free card.
Yeah. And I found that like you do have other options to use your meter. Like the flips require you to use your meter if you mess up, and you have the slowing down time and the zone shot. But I felt like most of the time it was better to try to save those if I could.
It's kind of like a fighting game with its super move.
Yeah. Where
Unfortunately, with this, you can't have a lead into the super move to finish it off. You
yeah.
just kind of have to use it.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I know that if you're playing like Marvel vs. Capcom or whatever,
you can combo into your ultimate attack. Yeah, it's or you can punish an opponent's with your ultimate attack. You have options for how you use that ultimate attack, so it's a little more flexible there. Here, it's just, you know, if the ball is on your side, you can either try to go for it normally, or you can use your free ultra shot. And the only reason you would ever not want to use it is if your opponent already has theirs, at which point you're waiting for them to use theirs first, and it just becomes a game of chicken.
Which, is fun, I should mention. Like, it is, I think this is still a good casual, fun game. It's just not something that I've ever felt like I want to bring out over, say,
a bunch of other games.
Oh, and I should state that there are a lot of improvements in this game that could only be done for the Switch version. For example, since you can play with your 2 different systems, each person can see the court from their side of the court instead of somebody having to play from the top half of the court, which is really, really nice because playing from the top half of the court sucks, and I don't know how anybody ever does it. Like, that's the worst part of playing any tennis game is when, you switch courts and somebody you have to play from the
I'll
top
give you
half.
that. One of the things that I kind of grudgingly liked about Hot Shots Tennis was that I think you could select which side of the court you were playing from, so you could actually give yourself some practice at playing on the opposite side of the court in the single player. I'm not sure if the Mario Tennis games do that.
I think they let you... I know that they let you, for single player, make it so that you always have the court in this viewpoint you have right now, where you'll always be on the bottom. I don't know if they will ever let you make it so that you're always on the top, so you can practice being on the top, though. I would have to double check that. I haven't played Mario Tennis 64 since it broke my N64, so yeah, basically. There we go. So yeah, the flip there that I just did, if you are perfect with your timing, you'll actually gain meter by doing it, but if you're not perfect with your timing, then it will cost meter to use, which I think is a cool mechanic in its own way.
Yeah, you can leave yourself open intentionally, hoping that your opponent shoots in a certain direction, and then use the flip to catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, that's, I think, like one of the only big things where your character choice really matters, because certain characters just have better flips than others. Like, Bowser Jr. is one. I think Boo has pretty much... Because it depends on their animation. Like, some of them can just, like, disappear and then teleport over, and then other ones will just, like, jump. And sometimes you just can't jump far enough to reach it with certain characters, where others, if they teleport or whatever, can just make it,
Mm-hmm. This is a boss fight. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember this one.
Am I the only one who thinks of Beauty and the Beast whenever I see this? Like, for some
Beauty
reason,
and the
that's...
Beast? You sure you're not thinking of Sleeping
Snow
Beauty?
White. Snow White,
that's the one.
It's the design of the mirror. Like, the way that the mirror is kind of shaped sort of like a face makes me think of the Alive furniture from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's also because I watched Beauty and the Beast an awful lot more than, like, Sleeping Beauty or Snow White or any of those. Like, I think we had them. We definitely had them.
It's not like I watched any Disney movie other than Aladdin a whole lot as a kid, but the mirror in Snow White is kind of one of the most striking things about old Disney movies, specifically because it was, like, I think a really, really early example of what is it called? Rotoscoping?
Yeah.
Not sure. It was uncannily fluid animation is the point.
Yeah. Because a lot of the animation in Snow White's actually really interesting, like where they try to freak you out during the part in the woods and whatnot. And Snow White's voice is just really weird to me for whatever reason as well, although that's not really the animation, but I can't stand her singing voice in that movie. But yeah, Sleeping Beauty, I think I don't know if I've ever watched that movie all the way through, like even once.
I don't think I actually have. I mixed up Snow White with Sleeping Beauty there. Sleeping Beauty's the one with Maleficent in it, who I only really know anything about thanks to Kingdom Hearts making her an important character for some reason.
She's got the coolest design out of most of the Disney villains, so that's basically why. Is she in Kingdom Hearts 3? Does she do anything important in that game? Also, how weird is it in that we live in a timeline where Kingdom Hearts 3 is real and not like a joke? Well, it might be a joke. I haven't played it, but, well... but anyway...
Smooth.
I should
Smooth.
mention that I was still having recording issues during this playthrough, so that's why there have been occasional frame drops. This is like the last playthrough where that's a problem, unless if I record something new and I go back to having problems. But if that's the case, I'm going to be very sad, so we're going to just hope that that's not the case at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we haven't talked about, like, another one of the major mechanics of this game, in that your racket can break. Surprisingly, the mirror racket is more durable than the normal one. I don't know how, but whatever. But basically, if you mess up returning certain shots, it'll say too early or too late there, and your racket will take damage. And if you lose all of your rackets, it's an instant game over. Again, like, it's an interesting idea. I don't know how much breaking the racket really ever comes up in competitive play, because I never really ever bothered trying to go for it, because the timing isn't really that hard to block, especially if you use the slow down time feature, I guess. Like, that's one of the... Or if you return it with your own zone shot, you won't break the racket. The racket won't take any damage at all, basically. So, while trying to go for a racket break is probably much more efficient in single player, like, there are a couple of times here where certain matches just go on far too long if you try to play it normally.
I have won so many matches in single player just by having Daisy spam her ultimate shot directly at the enemy's face and watching their racket shatter after a few attempts.
Yeah, like, against the CPUs, it's broken as crap, but, or at least the lower level ones. You know, the high level ones, as is the case in all of these kinds of games, you know, have god tier reflexes and will never miss a shot ever. Like, the N64 AI is superhuman.
Cheats.
Yeah, it cheats, pretty much. Like, there's no way, against certain characters, you basically just cannot lose. You know, unless if you get
Cannot win, you mean?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not wrong in that there are some characters that are so easy that you can't lose. But yeah, there are some characters where you basically just cannot beat them unless if you get absurdly lucky.
I think this was about as far into the game as I got before I had to go and trade my Switch in.
Yeah,
The winter area with the Shy Guys.
Yeah, and I the aesthetic of this area I do like a lot, like with the trains and the snow and whatnot. It's certainly a lot more nice when in video games they seem to ignore the fact that any sort of snow near any kind of automobile equipment or train equipment becomes black and disgusting. You know, so it's just like normal white snow here.
Or you could be like Chicago during the polar vortex, where we had to light the rails on fire to keep them from buckling.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was so cold that the joints of the tracks were at the risk of breaking, so they lit the rails on fire. Specifically to stop that from happening.
How do you even, like, and wouldn't that also damage the rails, though?
No.
But they're on fire.
Wasn't that basically how Doctor Doom got defeated in Fantastic Four?
Well, they lit him on fire and then cooled him down very, very quickly. So I suppose if the fire ever stopped suddenly, then, you know, like if they doused it with water, then, you know, a Doctor Doom kind of thing would happen. But,
oh wait, but that just made his body so powerfully rigid that he couldn't move. So, yeah. I think I get it.
That movie's frustrating because that's almost a good Fantastic Four movie, but then it just isn't. Like, there are specific scenes a lot of people consider that to be one of the worst superhero movies, and I can't blame you for that. There's a lot of bad parts. But there are certain scenes where it tries to be specifically the tone of Fantastic Four, where the Fantastic Four aren't really superheroes. They sometimes fight crime, but that's not really kind of like their deal. They kind of just hang out and like...
And Reed Richards is a dick to everyone.
Yeah, but, you know, like there's a montage scene in the middle of the movie where, you know, you just see them hanging out at their house and then using their powers for stupid stuff, like Human Torch is heating up popcorn using his hand, or Mr. Fantastic is in the bathroom and he reaches out with his stretchy arm in order to grab toilet paper from the closet. And, you know, or they're trying to play a prank on the Thing by doing, like, the shaving cream thing on the face, but since he's made out of rock, they can't get him to do a reflex unless if they use, like, a literal hammer. or something like that. Like, that kind of stuff is funny and the sort of kind of thing you would want in a Fantastic Four movie. But just the rest of it is really, really bad. So, you know, I've kind of lost faith that we'll ever get a good Fantastic Four movie actually starring the Fantastic Four, and The Incredibles is the closest we'll ever get. Which, you know, like, I can live with that, I guess. I like The Incredibles. That's a good movie. But, woo, that was close. But yeah.
I never thought of that, but yeah, the Incredibles basically are the Fantastic Four. Like, mixed with a little bit of Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's... The Incredibles is such a good movie, and Incredibles 2 was...
Really? I've been hearing nothing but good things about it. Are you sure?
It's
a good movie, but it's not a great movie.
It's got problems, you know. I mean, we're at the end of the part, but I was a little disappointed.
Oh, okay.